What I got here is an ARF I've had for years and years. I actually sold it, ended up buying it back, and it's a Sportsman Aviation. These guys aren't around like most of them now. It's a 60 size Spitfire, and it's kind of designed to be a warbird introductory airplane. So landing gear is actually not scale at all. They designed it intentionally to have the gear retract towards the fuselage instead of the other way around, just to make it handle better in the ground. So it's basically a low wing trainer. It's semi-symmetrical wing and a 60 size. So I figured, what the hell. Tried to sell it again and nobody was interested. A couple of guys were, and as soon as they found out the retracts went the wrong way. I said, well, if you're just coming off a 4-star 40, good luck with a Spitfire with stock landing gear. This would have been perfect. So I said, the hell with it, I'll put it together myself. Yeah, just doing some shopping at the hangar today. So I got it hinged, waiting for the 30-minute epoxy to dry. I had to do some adjustments to the spar to get everything to come together as close as I could. Unfortunately, I do have a little bit of a gap here, but on the bottom it's really tight. So, although the epoxy has filled most of that in. So, which means I should have given it a good sanding before I put it together. But, it'll be fine. Got the ailerons all measured up. I'm thinking about putting, I did actually order a set of, one of these guys likes to complain, that's this one. Quiet. So, yes, I'm using 72 on this model. So, nothing wrong with 72 FM. So yeah, I ordered $300 retractable landing gear electric from E-Flight. But I'm on the fence about putting them in. I think temporarily this airplane gives you a choice. Mechanical or retractable landing gear. That bench was clean yesterday. So the retracts, none of the hobby shops in Alberta have them. So I ordered them from Scamazon, which means I paid more for them. But they'll be here in a couple of weeks. So I ordered 85 degree. Which may be enough. This thing's got a lot of dihedral. It may not be enough, I don't know. But yeah, she's coming along. Other thing I changed, I went with Dubro pusher. I'm just using a plastic clevis, nothing wrong with those. And the Dubro left and right hinges, or horns. Yeah, the ones that come with it are okay. You know, the thing is, the clevis is 3-piece. You got the fork, and there's a little plastic pin that goes inside. And that to me it works. I've used them before. I have an FW190, but the chances of losing that thing is, it's there. So I just they also have a 90 with the clip. I just use a Z-bend and the 256 push rods. And that's the other little, probably the first change I made so far. Turns out after scrounging around in my box of Robark goodies, there's my E-Flight retracts, 85 degree retracts off my FW190. Now, of course, if I put those landing gear on this plane, it'll be a chopper. But yeah, all you do is change out the struts. It was a 90 size CMP FW190 that cartwheeled itself to death on second flight, I think. And yeah, I just like shit forget all about these, so that's what I'm going to use for landing gear, the Flight Electrics. Yeah, all that remains the old Focke-Wulf is the very soft plywood mounts. Yeah. So the struts are Robert. All the adapters are SAE, or standard, and of course everything in here is metric. So instead, I couldn't actually find anything that would fit in there snugly. Like even the metric wire I got was a little bit sloppy. I didn't like that, so took a metric Chinese bolt and I got my mini lathe going, and it was a 6 mil. I think it was a 6 mil bolt. So I machined this down to fit in the large Robard adapter that gets pushed into the end of the strut, and the other end is a little better than 5 mil. That fits in there snug. So it's kind of an odd size. It's almost like it was a clamp, but anyway, it's 2 set screws to hold that in place. So this, and it's a Chinese bolt, so it'll bend relatively easy. It's not a 8 grade or anything like that. So this is the adapter I made to put in American struts on Chinese retract. Why do all this? Why not just drill this out to metric size? Well, that'll thin that out for one reason. The other reason is, say this airplane has a limited lifespan. I would like to be able to put these struts on another airplane that, say, has Robart retracts. So that way I'm not screwing this up to metric size and this to gets a stay. Well, I had no choice because this adapter is actually smaller than that. So yeah, I did think about drilling that out, and I said, yeah, then you permanently made this thing metric, so nope. Besides, this is harder. Well, why do it? Why just simply drill that out when you can spend an hour on the lathe? Actually, I do enjoy playing on the lathe. So just hold this down so it's 90 degrees. Then this is the landing gear mount that just happened to work out. So it lifts this up enough to compensate for these bands. But again, this is straight. And just hold it down, and I just took my file and gently rubbed it using this to keep the file flat. And that'll give you pretty much a perfect 90 degree mark for setting your punch marks for your set screws. There, nice straight line. Perfectly 90 degrees. Well, got the landing gears, electric gears sorted out. These are 85 degree. And they sit perfect in the wing. But those wheels are 3-inch. The mechanicals that come with it just have the rod. So the wheel, the plastic tubs, keep modifying them. In the end, I just ended up with this. But they're not deep enough. The wheel this curve here is too shallow, because that is puts the wheel down probably an extra quarter of an inch anyway, so that's enough for it to not want to fit in here. 3-inch wheel, so why not put 2.5 in there, but 60 size a model, grass strip. All I can see is nose overs, and that really crappy brittle canopy won't last long. In fact, I'm going to order some canopies from Plastics Fell in the States. These the dimensions are the same as the Sterling Spitfire, so, and that black trim is why. I got some olive drab dope, I might fix that. Anyway, what I was hoping I didn't have to do, I'm doing. I'm going to run sheet bolts in there to line that wheel. I'm not going to bother making a floor. I'll just use the sheeting. So, first attempt, of course, it snapped. So I cut out another piece that's roughly the right size. I'm just going to do a little bit of fitting to get this underneath. Because I was going to do it this way, and I said, you know what, better off doing a little extra fidgeting and get that underneath, then I won't have to worry about the covering. So I sprayed one side, the outside of your bend, with window cleaner, Windex, somewhat ammonia, and stuck it in there, pushed it down so it sits on the floor or the top of the sheeting there. I'm just letting it dry up a bit, and then I'll start fidgeting with it, get it to fit under it, and whack it with some, probably try to get it tight enough on the top to use thin. On the bottom I'll just use medium CA glue, and then I'll have to make the another piece here. Yeah, changing thing. Originally I was just going to stick the fixed gear on it just to fly it, and I'm kind of thinking maybe I should have, but then I wouldn't have liked it. So the circle I cut out, I'm probably just going to cut a couple of strips, and that'll fill this section in here with balsa. I was going to use the hardwood from the fixed gear, but nah, this is a little lighter. So yeah, there should be enough there to make two, oh yeah, definitely, to make 2 strips to cover this mess up that we don't need, and maybe put a little bit in the back. Make it nice and blue. Of course, it's underneath the airplane out of nowhere, so. But first, I'm going to use this as a pattern to get this side started before cutting it up. Yeah, this is taking twice as long as I expected. Yeah, you start making changes, you double and triple the time. But it's probably easier than farting around with mechanical retracts. I'm also going to have to leave a hole. I might put a straw or tube or something in here to run the wire for the electric retract. Alright, that is the right hand side done. And I get started on the left hand side. So I got the whole wheel well done with balsa liner. 2 holes in it, got the wire through it. So now I just gotta get this one. Fun and game, this takes a lot longer when you start messing around with stuff like that. So. Oh well, be worth it when it's done. Of course, like a nut job. I'm going to put the covers on it just because, even though they're backwards, you'll see less of this stuff. With the, I might put flathead screws in here too. These are sticking up too much. You'll see less of this stuff in the air unless I'm being somewhat retarded. I don't know. A bit of a predicament with my retracts. They kind of sort of stopped working. They wouldn't work. They're binding up or just weren't really working right. They're just missing. So, kind of annoying noise to make. I couldn't for the life of me figure out what was going on. So, turns out the Y harness has to be the Shimano up here. It changed. Went to 2.4 radio and everything because I thought it was 72 FM. But I'm just going to stay with the 2.4. But anyway, turns out there's a special Y harness that comes with these retracts. It has a resistor or capacitor, something in there, I forget what they called it. And if that's not there, they're going to work. So I'm like looking for the same colored wires that are on the retracts, which are similar to high-tech. I couldn't find anything. So I looked at the part number online. It was actually RC groups or something where I get the information. They got a part number for this, which verified what I read. And I'm then noticed when I looked at the pictures on the hobby store and then on the E-Flight, there are Futaba colors. And I'm like, huh. So I'm thinking, where did I use that? It turns out the Mariner had that wire harness, and I noticed it didn't have the Futaba tabs on them. I'm like, So sure enough, took the wire harness off, put the one off the Mariner on this. This looks like there's something in there other than just a joint. And amazingly, works like a dam. So the little details. And RC forum, RC group, I think it is. They said it's in the manual, tells you that you got to use their wire harness. They're right. 100% right. That's good. Now they work. Well, I gotta say, the air retracts are a hell of a lot quieter. March 3rd, 2005. So 19 and a half years later. Yeah. Yeah, I got my green chromate in there now. Just one coat. I'll probably throw another one on there. It's just exterior latex that I had made up for to match the chromate color for my fighters. And it's not fuel proof, but chances of fuel getting in there are slim. If it does, I get a pretty serious leak. So yeah, that's it for the wing. It is finished.